Why the Chinese army is not all that strong. 1. The command structure is too rigid. The People's Liberation Army is Soviet-like in structure. That means there's very little coordination between branches. Since 2016, Xi Jinping has tried to modernize it. He wants to make the PLA capable of joint operations, but that's taking longer than he hoped. The Chinese system discourages reporting problems to the top. This seriously impedes any reform efforts. 2. U.S. sanctions are having a detrimental effect. China has certainly made technological leaps. It has produced some hypersonic missiles and even stealth fighters, but its military-industrial complex is still outdated. It still trails behind the West in aircraft and ship engines, so China has to rely on some foreign parts. The embargoes on semiconductors and components make it harder to catch up. Chinese armaments still suffer technical flaws. There are numerous supply chain problems and development delays. China's 10 big state-owned manufacturers are unwieldy. They're overstaffed, poorly run, and prone to conceal mistakes. 3. Corruption is rampant. Despite Xi's endless purges, corruption remains pervasive. General Li Shanfu was appointed defense minister in March 2023. In October, he was sacked. In July, 2 top generals in the rocket force were fired. They are now being investigated for corruption and leaks. Li Shanfu has disappeared, but is probably in custody. 4. The PLA has trouble recruiting professionals. China is certainly not lacking in manpower, but skilled officers are another matter entirely. Chinese military service is dreary and doesn't pay well. Skilled professionals prefer the civilian high-tech sector. The PLA is struggling to find people to operate all its modern weaponry. Drafting professionals only spooks more of them into emigrating. Among those who do join up, the turnover rate is high. 5. The one-child policy has had unintended consequences. The infamous policy was in place from 1979 to 2016. It produced a generation of mostly only children. They were brought up by overly coddling parents. Potential recruits are young men obsessed with social media. They're put off by the PLA's old-school communist austerity. The increasing focus on political education is just as off-putting. 6. The PLA is a victim of peace disease. China hasn't fought a war since attacking Vietnam in 1979. Even that one lasted a month. Back then the PLA was still using human wave mass infantry assaults. They proved ineffective against Soviet-armed Vietnamese forces. The last conflict with India in 2020 resulted in 4 casualties, but it was fought with rocks, clubs, and fists. Xi has accused the PLA of peace disease. He warned that it was more dangerous than rusting guns. 7. China's economy is in trouble. China's military frailties exist alongside its economic ones. A property crunch plus divestment are impeding growth. China's GDP will increase by 5.4% this year and by only 3.5% in 2028. An economic slowdown could squeeze military spending. At the same, benefits for recruits are being increased. This is the only way to attract more people. 8. Xi has placed too much value on loyalty. This problem is common to all authoritarian regimes. Xi's reign has created a system that rewards conformity. It no longer allows serious internal policy debate. This is bad for decision-making. PLA troops spend 25% of their time on political education. Ideology is often prioritized above skill.